Unjustly, maybe it is something that exists in all societies and most of us were exposed to it, but maybe in different ways. Okay, so let's play something. Let's imagine that we are the oppressed people and our life should end for something that we do not do that. But after our sentence, our innocence were declared. Here is the disaster. Here is the catastrophe itself. So let me tell you about 7 stories talking about innocent people who were brutally killed despite there is no charge against them. Okay, the first victim here is Hogat, the Chinese young man. The police arrested him in 1996 when he was 18 years old at that time. So the story is starting when he was walking in a place and suddenly he heard a woman's screams from different direction. So as it is a normal reaction, he decided to go and to see what the matter. But he's shocked to see that there is a murdered woman and there is no one in the place without him. So Hogat, without any thinking, he called the police as a natural reaction. But the police did not hesitate and arrested him immediately on a charge of assaulting and killing a woman, even though he was the person who called them. So how they are thinking? After a period of his imprisonment, he was executed by firing squad, and this is a horrible common thing in China. But the biggest problem came after 9 years of Hogat execution, when the police arrested a criminal man and he confessed too many crimes that he committed, including the crimes that Hogat was executed. So finally the police declared that Hogat is innocent, but it became too late and they give his family a sum of money. Here are the next victims. On one day in the year 1983 in the United States of Texas, two crimes that committed in the same place but maybe in different times, and the charge was framed to the person who named Leonel Herrera. So what happened in that time? How does Leonel were a friend to this? So let's start. There is two evidence in this place. The first one is a personal information card belonging to Leonel Herrera, and the second place there is a card number to Leonel Herrera. So here the accused was clearly that Leonel is the criminal, and without hesitation he was sentenced to 12 years in prison. And he tried to defend for himself but without no reason because the evidence was clear. After a while, something appeared from the lawyer of a person called Raul Herrera, who was the Blenel's brother. He presented to the court papers proving that Raul is the criminal and his brother was innocent, but the court did not agree to get this evidence and decided to implement Lionel to the death in 1993, and he was injected with the death injection, and this is a very upset matter. So Lionel was innocent. He tried to defend for himself but without no reason, and his life was ended for something that he did not do. The first victim here is also from American state of Texas. His name Robin Cantu. He was a criminal man because two things. He was born in a poor neighborhood and it was full of crimes. But here in this time, Robin was sentenced for something that he did not do. The beginning of this story started in a building that was being constructed. And one day in the night, two teenage boys entered to the building, tried to rob it, but there was two builders inside it. These two young men pointed their weapons to the builder and they asked them to give them money. But one of these builders tried to pull out his gun. Without any hesitation, one of these boys shot these young men, and one of them was killed and the other one remained alive. After a while, a second builder was investigated, and the police showed him pictures of criminals, but they did not remember anything, or they did not remember who assaulted them. And the case was closed because there was no evidence, and that's normal. After that, at Robin House, a policeman stormed his house without any permit or without any order. So Robin get angry, he shot the policeman and he was dead. The building case was opened strangely, and the police charged Robin and caused him in the case and sentenced him to death by death injection. This sentence was carried out in 1993. Maybe the police took revenge on Robin for their friend indirectly way, and this is not fair. The fourth victim here, on one day in the year 1976, two policemen were walking during their work hours and noticed that there was a car in an unusual place. They approached closer and noticed that there was three people sleeping in the car and there was a gun in the chair. They asked the people to get out in the car quietly, and the three people were Jesse, Sonia, and Walter. In a quickly way and without any asking, Walter confessed to the police that Jesse assaulted another police, took their weapons, kidnapped him and Sonia, and forced them to get in the car with him. After this confession, they were all imprisoned, and the police sentenced Jesse to the death by electric chair. The chair was disabled during this execution, causing Jesse's head to catch fire for 7 minutes, and it was an extremely terrible thing. After that, Walter admitted to the police that he was the criminal and Jesse did not do nothing, but that did not change anything, and he served his sentence normally without any more execution about what he did. You know that racism is popular in many countries, and color discrimination in American countries is a very common thing. I'm not happy, but I will tell you about the story of three people who were executed because of their color. Here are the fifth victim. In one day in the year 1930, the police in the American state of Carolina found a body of an old man named John Lewis, who was white-skinned, murdered in his home. After many searching in a crime scene, they found a weapon belonging to a criminal man who called Stevens. Despite the police arrested him as a natural reaction, they offered him an offer of spending the rest of his life in the prison without any death sentence, but the police wanted him to accuse two dark-skinned people of being the ones who ordered him to kill the white man. Actually, this is horrible, and I can't imagine that. And that happened. They do that. Maybe it was revenge of these two brothers who called Thomas Griffin and Max Griffin. All of these crimes because they were black and wealthy in their area. In fact, they were accused for a crime that they did not do, and the court of all white-skinned people sentenced them to the death by electric chair. In fact, they were executed in the year 1950, despite that there were many people who opposed the ruling, but with no effects, because they were black people. The sixth victim, a 40-year-old boy whose crimes that he was black-skinned. His name George Stinney. In the year 1944, he was accused of killing two white-skinned girls. Despite the absence of all evidence against him, but he was accused simply because three white-skinned policemen said that George told them that he was the criminal. So what the hell? It is something that unbelievable. And the police sentenced him to death by electric chair. And unfortunately, because the chair was not designed for children, and George was the first victim to it, in that time George held a Bible. But the police asked him to put the Bible and to sit on it. So can you imagine? Actually, George was executed in a cold blood from people who did not have any hurt. And the more painful is that after 70 years of George executed, his innocence was announced. That's too late. If you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.